Okay.
Hello,
Hey,
everyone. Oh,
hello
go ahead.
everyone.
Sorry.
Hey, Achal. Hey, Jay. Thanks for joining us again, and welcome to the another episode of This is Tech Talks. And today we have our special guest Achal. She will be talking about Postman. So before I introduce Achal to you, Jay, how are you? How was your Friday?
Good. I'm really glad it's Friday because I thought yesterday was Friday. So hopefully this Friday goes by quickly.
Wow, that's great. Hey, Achal, how are you? How's your Friday? And what any plan for your weekend?
Yeah, thank you, Santosh. So I'm doing amazing, and like I hope you're doing well as well, both of you. My Friday was really good. I just wrapped up all my work, and now I'm free. And yeah, because a lot of things are going around, in my life currently because I'll be shifting away from my family. So
Oh,
just like last moment things, packing up everything. You just wondering that hey, what to leave and what to not. Yeah.
oh wow. Thanks for joining us on just a day before you move. So thanks again. So, Achal, before we move ahead, would you like to introduce yourself and then we'll kick off?
Sure, sure. So I'll quickly introduce myself. Hello, everyone. I'm Aanchal Mishra, currently in my final year, studying, pursuing BTech from SNDT Women's University. Apart from that, I'm currently interning with Postman as a student community intern. And because communities have a very, very special place in my heart, so you will see me, being actively participating, conducting various technical talks, sessions, workshops, study jam, and I'm part of some of the most amazing technical communities around the globe, like Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador program. So I'm currently, a gold Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. That is the highest milestone inside the program. Apart from that, I'm also an organizer of TensorFlow User Group Mumbai, which is the very first TFUG Mumbai, in India, and yeah, various other communities. So that's a little bit about myself.
So, sorry. Yeah. Okay, Jay, what do you?
Awesome. Yeah. So I know some of our viewers and myself may have used Postman in the past. Like I've made the odd GET request to test an API or something like that with it, right? But I believe there's more to it than that. So, what is Postman?
Oh, yeah, awesome. So let me quickly answer that. So, first of all, I would say, well, like in very simple words, Postman is an API platform. It might sound very naive, right? So, let me rephrase the entire statement and say Postman is a collaborative API development platforms. I emphasize on the word collaborative because it is one of the best features that you can actually expect from Postman. So Postman is basically a collaborative API development platform that allows users to create, test, and run APIs with a very, very simple and beautiful UI. And no wonder Postman is already being used by more than 5 lakh companies across the globe, with over 17 million developers who are already building, running, and distributing APIs with Postman. And because of Postman's helpful features around APIs, the tool has also become an industry standard tool that is being used by many top companies and individual developers alike. So yeah, that was like in very small, but that's how exactly I can define, Postman in very simple terms.
Okay. So what does it do? Like it's an API collaborative API platform, but what would a user do when they open Postman up?
Yeah, so basically it is like it controls the entire life cycle of an API, right? So you can actually, there are a lot of parts to it. Like you can actually create, send, and save REST, SOAP, and GraphQL request, right? You can also like select whichever method you want to. And because, so let me give you a very quick scenario, right? So like fortunately, when I started my developer journey, that is still a student developer. So when I started my journey, I was fortunate that Postman was already introduced. But before that, what exactly used to happen, right? How exactly our developers used to work with API. We used to work with curl command line. Now, I'm not sure if you actually remember or how exactly frustrating it was to work with curl command line, right? And then to fetch something important and then understand and then process the same. But then Postman came in, and then the entire life cycle of an API and how exactly developers interact and get the most out of API changed completely. Because here at Postman, actually most of the tasks, that is let's say getting the method, whether you want to get a method, you just want to retrieve an info, information, you want to post something, these are just, mostly these are like a click of button. So that's how things actually change. Apart from that, because we are adding so many other features, like, we keep on actually improvising a lot on the features. So users actually, or developers basically get to do just more than, like fetching an API, or it is a lot more than just, testing an API. So yeah, that is what I would say.
Okay. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do in Postman then for sure.
Yes.
It sounds like it can do a lot more than what I've used it for in the past, that's for sure.
I
Yes,
mean, I
right.
remember I used to when I was doing .NET development. So we used to actually test our APIs, and that time Postman was just an extension. Early, I think I'm talking about early 13 or 14, and so I was looking for some replacement for a extension called REST API. So then we came across Postman, and now it has become a huge organization with $5 billion evaluation. That's a huge for Indian ecosystem, I would say.
Indeed, indeed. A long way to go as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
agreed.
yeah. APIs are complicated and there's a lot to do there for sure.
Yes.
Okay, so do you want to give us a quick demo of Postman?
Yeah, sure, I would love to. Okay, so let me quickly, share my screen and then let's get started. So of course, signing up with Postman is as easy as anyone can, and like for free. So it is basically free for up to four, up to three participants. So anyone can actually do that. Let me quickly share my screen and just get hands-on and say how exactly things work here. So this is a very simple how exactly the Postman UI looks like. So here, if you will see, if you have ever worked with GitHub, right, you will see most of the things like mostly common, like you have a section here that is basically called as fork. So on GitHub you can actually fork large repositories, and here on Postman you can actually fork large collections and workspaces and then work with each other. Apart from that, you also have an option of collaborating, as I told, right? So the best thing is, again, you can actually, like, let's say if you're participating in a hackathon and you want to collaborate with your teammates, so you can actually just invite, add in your teammates here and then work around on the same API or whatever you are actually building in the same collection or in the same workspace. So that's about it. Now, talking about the demo, of course, we actually have made a very nice curriculum that is called API 101 using Postman. And in case you want to actually have a look at that, it is basically 90 minutes long workshop where we actually talk about what exactly is APIs. We start with, talking about APIs, and then end up, getting all the participants hands get dirty on Postman, and then, learn with it, and, like by taking an API. So but now, because I see that it will take a lot of time, so what I'll do is I'll quickly show a very quick demonstration of how, let's say, how Google search works as an API. Okay, so let me quickly come here. Let me open a new let's say, like new request, and then let's come here. Same thing again, quick overview of this here. This is the drop down menu where you can actually select the method, right? You have an option here where you can actually select which method you want to go ahead with, and depending on that, you can actually work around it. Now here, this is the place where you will be adding your endpoint URL. So for now, what I'll do is, because I want to know that how exactly Google search works as an API, so now I'll just come here and I'll be typing www.google.com. Okay, and then this is the send button, which actually allows the URL to get processed, and then it gives us a response. So now let me quickly hit a send request, hit a send button, and let's see what exactly we get. So the one which I'm hovering over, this is basically our response section. And what do we see here? We basically see a very nice format, like a very pretty HTML written here for us, right? Now, here, one overwhelming thing which you will find is that you will find a lot of things in the response section itself, right? You will see body, cookies, headers, test results, and a lot of things. Similarly, on the right hand side, again, I am sure you all must have come across some status codes like 404 or 400. But yeah, this is basically the section of status code which actually tells you that whether your request was processed, processed, and it was successful or not. Then there is time section, which actually analyzes the time taken by the, request URL to actually get processed and then give us the response. Then this is also the size of the response. Okay, now the one thing is that we also, in the body section as well, we have a lot of options. Like we can view it in different formats. Like you can view the same thing in raw format, and here we have preview section. So what do we see here? We see very simple Google search, like something similar to Google search engine UI, right? Now avoid the avoid the broken CSS because we are not currently on the browser, so you will have to deal with it. But what happens is, let's say I want to actually search for Postman, okay? So now what I actually want to see is that I want to see that when I search for Postman, what do I get? Okay, so now I'll come here and let me quickly add here, let's say Q, and I'll add a query parameter, and let's say I will add it as Postman. Okay, so now once I add Postman, let's see what do I get. So what do you get? You basically get Postman written here in this text box. Of course, not much helpful, because when you come here and when you search for, let's say, Postman, what do you get? You basically see the entire result section right here. What is Postman? It is the official website of Postman. Then you have the Twitter account of Postman and whatnot, like everything related to Postman. But here, when I'm seeing, okay, fine. I think my screen was not visible, right? I will share this tab instead. Okay, so I'll do it again. Let me quickly do it again. And oh, my screen was stopped. Okay, my screen sharing was stopped.
Yeah, you have to
Okay,
share it again.
let me quickly share it again.
No worries.
Awesome. Okay. So as I was saying that, let's say now if you actually switch to this tab and let me, quickly search for Postman, what do we get? Okay. So we get the entire search page, right? Like the results page where we are actually able to see the official page of Postman, like everything related, some, frequently asked questions, the Twitter account of Postman and whatnot. But when I come here, what do you actually see? You just see Postman written here, which is of course not much helpful, right? So now what I'll do is, like, what could be the, what exactly could be the mistake that we have made here? So if I will talk about the mistake, it is not that difficult to rectify the mistake. That is basically, here we have added the host, right? That is google.com. We have added it. We have also added the query parameter that is also present with us. Now, one thing that is missing is that basically your endpoint URL is the combination of the host, the path, and the query parameter, right? So here I have not added the path. So let me now quickly add the path, and now let's search for Postman, and let's now click on send. And now when I click on send, what do you see? You see the entire results page here. That is again, pretty much the same what we actually saw, when we were actually searching it on the Google search. So this was a very, like very small, of course, this is not how exactly, this will be the easiest I can actually tell that how exactly you work with most of the features of Postman and how exactly you can interact with them. But if you would have observed it, let me come here, and what do you see? You basically see that the URL remains the same, right? If I talk about the URL, this URL is pretty long. Like, I mean, I can see so many other things that are being added here. So why exactly Google is, adding so many parameters or so many path when we are actually so many parameters when we are actually, searching for Postman itself. So now what I'll do is, again, let's get this solved as well, right? So let me quickly remove this, and let me add the URL that has been, that we are actually receiving when we are sending, when we are actually searching for Postman on the Google search engine. So now what you see, okay, so the response remains the same. You don't have to, like, we don't have a lot things here to see. But here, if you see the query parameter sections, the things changes simultaneously. So here, if you remember that basically it was only, in the previous one, it was only one key, it was Q, and then we had Postman, right? The value as Postman. But here you see that Google is actually, sending many query parameters when we are actually, when we are actually typing for, when we are actually searching for Postman. Apart from that, you also have headers here, right? Most of them will be, again, like hidden one, right? They will be hidden one, but yeah, you actually see some of them. Now don't ask me why they are actually taking these many information, of course, for our own good, right? So that was about it. Apart from that, if you will see the response section, as I was talking about, collaboration as well. So here you can actually save the response. Okay, you have an option to save the response, so that in order to, like, let's say if any of your team members later want to revisit this particular query and they want to see that what exactly they received, they can also, go there and have a look here. So yeah, that was a very small demo of how exactly, you can work, you can actually play around or work with Postman. And yeah, of course, feel free to again sign up with It is completely free. It just takes a couple of seconds to sign up with Google in Postman, and then you are ready to go. So yeah.
Nice. So that also works obviously for REST APIs that return JSON or XML
Yes.
or I don't know other response types you would use other than JSON for some reason. I would assume.
Yeah, so of course, I would say that, so again, so more in detail, let's talk about the features of Postman, right? That what exactly are the features that actually, Postman offers to the developers like us, right? So if I talk about the very first one, as I told that, yeah, it is definitely about the request, right? You can create, send, and save REST, REST, SOAP, and or, like you can also, save, like work with GraphQL request, right? Apart from that, it is also about responses, right? You can actually view the status code, you can view the response size, you can also see the response time. And apart from that, you can also, there is also something which is called as automatic syntax highlighting, that is basically in the response body, so you also get that. Apart from that, talking about variables, so we have built-in support, like in Postman we have built-in support for variables, so you can actually create and set variables in at multiple scopes. Let's say there are then, when I talk more about variables, then we have different types of variables as well, like global variables. Like if you want to store something which is actually, let's say, www.google.com is being used for more than like n number of times, you can actually say that you can store it as a variable, and then you can choose the environment, let's say global, collection level, or environment level, and then you can work around with it so that you don't have to type in the entire URL again and again. Apart
Right.
from that, yes, yeah, I can definitely emphasize more on, or like talk more about the collaboration features, the team management features as well. But yeah, it will definitely take a long way. So yeah, I will stop here.
So I have Postman open right now, and I see a couple of other things in the sidebar here, like mock servers and monitors. What are those
Yes.
features?
Yes. So basically, if I talk about the monitoring, so you can actually schedule and run a monitor, which is basically using the environments with your monitors. You can actually run a monitor from, let's say, up to like one region to six regions, right? And when I'm actually talking about monitor, you also have an option to run a monitor via a static IP. Okay, so you can actually, run a monitor via a static API. Apart from that, you can also get notified, or like whenever you are actually like you can get notified of run failures as well. And you can also trigger a monitoring run via, like, let's say, a webhook. So there is a lot to do when we actually talk about monitoring. Apart from that, if I talk about mock server, basically it's basically simulating the API endpoints is actually possible with mock server. Okay, so you can create and save examples for the mock server to return, and then you also have an option to create private mock servers, and also then you can run the mock server from static API. That is this particular feature is only for enterprise purpose, but yeah, that's what exactly it offers.
Cool.
One question, Achal. I mean, so does it support REST and GraphQL both, or just
Yes,
REST? Oh, it does
it
support.
does support.
Okay,
Yeah, it
cool.
does support. Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. We just started using GraphQL at work, and yeah, it's wild. It's so wild.
Indeed it is.
Okay, so how would someone go about getting involved in the Postman community if they wanted to, learn more, just get involved in general, contribute? I'm assuming it's open source,
Yes,
right?
awesome. There are quite a lot ways. Okay, when I talk about contributing and working with Postman student community, like Postman community in general, we have a lot of pathways already created. Whether you are someone who is a student developer, whether you are someone who is an educator, we have something for almost everyone. Okay, so if I talk about very common programs that we are actually, like I currently at Postman, we are actually monitoring, and we are definitely taking care of. That is one of the best things that is a student can actually be part of, is a postman, inside postman student program. So in postman student program we have three programs running. That is the very first one, student expert program. Now this particular certification is not specifically for student, because it is named as student expert, right? It is basically for anyone who is an API enthusiast and they want to learn more about how exactly they can work with APIs. They can actually get a very nice hands-on tutorial and plus get a certification for that as well. So anyone who is actually interested in learning more about APIs, if my very 2 minute demo, 2 minutes demo actually interested you to learn more about APIs and then how exactly you can work around with it, maybe in hackathon or in your day-to-day life, so you can actually apply for student expert program. I'll quickly share a link, share the link in the here in the private chat. Feel free to, Jay or Santosh, you can actually mention it, post it in the comment section. Apart from that, once you actually become a student expert, you also have another option, that is, you can also become a student leader. Okay. So if you are someone who actually wants to be, who actually wants to be the advocate of API literacy inside your campus or in your local community, it is a very good chance for you to, join in the student leader program, where you can actually learn more about it and you can actually learn more about Postman, its features, and of course a lot of other things. You can also get chance to speak at our amazing conferences like Postman Galaxy, which almost we everyone loves. So you can be part of all of these, and of course you can actually get to work with Postman more in a more diverse and inclusive way. So I will also share that link. But again, once you actually come to student expert program, once you complete that, that is a very starting point for how exactly you can get started with it. Apart from that, as you all might know that Postman also participates in GSOC, right? So that is one of the best ways you can actually, if you are someone who is an open source enthusiast and you want to contribute to Postman, let's say Newman or anything, you can definitely get started at least with the beginners. You can keep your beginners clear, beginning, you can actually keep your fundamentals clear and then wait for the announcement. Of course it is yet to be announced, but yeah, you can definitely wait for the announcement, and once it is live you can definitely apply for it as well. Apart from that, last but not the least, we also have Postman classroom program. So if you are an educator and you actually want to teach your students with industry standard Postman API tools, so of course they can be ultra prepared for today's world, right? That is the job market. So you can also, educators can also apply for becoming a classroom program, where they have we have tons and tons of opportunities and benefits or perks for the entire university which actually gets associated with it. So yeah, there are definitely a lot of them, and it's just the start. But of course we have a lot of other programs running in, and yeah, stay updated.
Wow, there's a lot of options. That's really awesome to hear. So if anybody watching this once again involved, feel free to reach out. I'm assuming, as well as just get involved in the programs that we shared. So we got a question in the chat here. Is it possible to automate API testing with Postman?
Oh, of course it is. I will not actually, say that it is exactly we can actually do that. But of course, there are different options, and there are different schemas available already for you. You can definitely see what exactly works out for you, and then work accordingly.
Cool. Yeah, I've only ever really used it to test APIs manually. I don't know what the response of this is going to be, so I'll go and ping it on my server kind of thing. But it would be sweet to be able to automate it, so you can just write your end-to-end test suite in Postman and then run Postman to test your API. That'd be really
Got
cool.
it. Assume that it has been already conveyed to us.
Sounds good. Okay, so is there anything that you want to shout out or share or promote?
Sure. So the very as I was talking about all of these programs, I also understand that because these programs are actually beginner friendly, so you might not be, you might not actually be, facing a lot of issue when you will be doing this certification. But because we have a very active student community, on Discord, so I have already added that in the comment section, in the private chat. Feel free to mention it in the comment section. You can actually join the Postman student community on Discord, which is a very active community. You will see a lot of challenges running on. You will see a lot of everything that is whenever we first release something, or whenever we are actually working around in a big event, we post everything that is actually being posted here. So you can definitely, stay updated here. Of course, know more about the program, how exactly, and if you are stuck somewhere, if you will just scroll through any of the channel, you will see mostly me answering all of the questions, like, me, and along with my teammates as well, right? Along with other Postmanauts, like we have Claire, who is another student community manager here at Postman. We have Ali, who is a student community lead at Postman. So you will see all around us. You can directly come, like you can directly, if you want to have a quick chat with us, feel free to ping us, and we'll be more than happy to, see that how exactly we can help you. So feel free to join us here, and let's have a quick, let's have quick introduction and quick interaction. Yeah.
Great. Sounds good. It seems like based on the chat, a lot of people were learning something from you today. So thank you for coming on to the show. Extra thank you because I know you're moving. So like I know how stressful and how much work that can be. I absolutely hate moving. So thanks for taking your time to come on the show with us.
Thank you so much, Jay. My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much, Santosh and Jay, for inviting me.
Yeah.
Absolutely my pleasure.
Cool. So thanks again, both of you, for joining for this episode, and we will meet again next episode. But shout out to few of my GitHub sponsors. Because of them, I'm able to like pay for the StreamYard subscription. So shout out to Sunil and Digger.dev. You can just go ahead and see Digger.dev as well. They have a nice tool which is open source, and they are building in open. So shout out to both of them, and yeah, we will meet again next week. And Achal, looking forward to have you probably again in the future, so we can have like uh, we can dig more into the features, because I can see there are a lot of features and you stopped yourself because we had like this 30-minute limit. But yeah,
Yes.
we will of course do that in future. So yeah, thanks again for joining.
Awesome. 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 Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.